I will give you a coronary occlusion when you hear my rhymes. 'Cause me, I've got iambic pentameter and haiku coursing through my veins, and my thoughts can't be restrained. I can't keep much inside, 'cause I'm always walking around with a pen and pad, 'cause at any time prolific thoughts will overtake my soul, my mind, and my heart, and then these words I must impart. First to myself upon the page, and then share them with others on the poetic stage. And this isn't just some poetic passing phase, some didactic, educational, edifying way of purging myself. This is real. How else could I express myself if not through creative means? Stuffing little thoughts in the pockets of my jeans, carrying in my bag 3 to 4 pens, 'cause I never know when the poetry will hit me. On the bus, at the park, on a plane, at a party with friends. My poetic creations are imaginative, creative, stories of love, hate, or crime, sometimes delivered in a da poetry or a rhapsody style, in a da poetry and a rhapsody style, or not keeping any time. Sometimes delivered as a speech and sometimes delivered as prose, but the beauty of language and expression is in my heart, the heart of a poet, the heart of a poet, the heart of a poet, Thank you. So working with young people is a huge part of my existence, and it's because I grew up in a pretty abusive home, and my only release was to go crazy at school and just cause a lot of havoc for my teachers. And I didn't really know, I think, I didn't have a creative outlet. I didn't know what all of the anger and frustration meant, and it's why I work so well with youth, especially youth that have a lot of issues. And I always credit my brother with teaching me Black history and giving me an outlet for my art when I was a teenager, because I'm convinced I would have been locked up by age 16 had that creative intervention not happened. So it breaks my heart when I turn on the news and there's just so much gun violence or young people being killed. And I wrote this piece years ago, and unfortunately, since I wrote this incident has happened many other times, but it's called Jordan Matters. Because Jordan matters, and our youth matter, and my generation matters, and elders matter. The other week, another young Black man was shot during school hours. And once again, we want to use our power to rise to the occasion. I don't know about you, but I've been rising for over 20 years. Since my first job in recreation, it's been my occupation to work with, listen to, and try to understand the youth. And I feel that there is a great divide between elders, my generation, and the youth. And I only speak the truth as I see it, as I've lived it, as I've experienced it. You see, young people today are dealing with circumstances and conditions and violence, and we need to check ourselves in our own silence until something goes terribly wrong. We need to be there for the weak and the strong, for the homeless youth living in shelters who don't have the same access to schools and tools and who live by a different set of rules. And we need to be there for the youth who actually have it together, who have the strength of a leader. But how can you be there if you don't even understand the layout of the youth land? Communication is key, not talking down or looking down or tuning out or looking the other way. We need to talk to our young people right now, right here, today, because other things are doing the talking, and other people are doing the talking, and guns and violence is doing the talking, and youth are talking, but are we listening? See, I got poems on anti-violence and anti-racism and equity and equality, but how come sometimes we act so darn anti-social and anti about anything? And hey, Black like you, hey, I'm one of you, look at me, we could be each other too. And don't look at me like, what are you talking about? Because I'm talking to you. See, the problems and anger and violence and rage didn't just take center stage overnight. This has been a production under construction, waiting for an eruption for years, and now it's finally here. So open up your eyes and open up your ears, because gone are the days of Dora the Explorer. And Mr. Rogers' neighborhood as he's changing his sweater because now R. Kelly has come out of the closet, and to youth that seems so much better. Oh, remember the days of how to get to Sesame Street. Well, things have changed, but it's not too late. Saturday cartoons have been replaced. Remember Bugs Bunny and the Roadrunner race? Remember Tom and Jerry and the Tooth Fairy who left $1? Holla, try to leave $1 now and see what happens. Because things have changed. Because now they're watching BET, and sometimes that's black empty television, and MTV, that's more tenacious television, and Hollywood and Pimp My Ride, and watching hoes and pimps on TV with pride, and Flava Flav and other Sambo types are live and direct on our TV. This denigration is breaking my heart, you see. These are just some of the things that are infiltrating young minds. Being a gangster looks more promising than being a teacher. Being part of a gang is a symbol of wanting to belong, of showing how strong and proving that you can be. You have the power beyond belief, and I keep hearing about self-hatred, but to me, our youth are sacred, and I can't identify with self-hate, but I can identify with it's not too late. Afrocentric schools are only one tool because we need to get our history in all of the schools because our story is for all youth to understand. We all need to learn it to break this continuous trend. Because it's not just black youth that are rocking baggy pants and gangsta images and trying to identify with things that make me want to cry, because I've seen some white kids that are blacker than me, blacker than I ever want to be. But see, I'm just a poet. What do I know? I know that our youth need a sense of identity. They need to learn about economics and the economy, that we give them all the things that we didn't have when we were younger so they don't have the same sense of responsibility. I'm spitting wisdom with my rhymes just one more time, and you better recognize and listen up, because I'm not going to make a big scene and I'm not going to make a big fuss, but my heart is broken when words are spoken again and again with no end results. It's more than building institutions. See, our youth is an institution. Our history is an institution. We are an institution, so let's stop all the rhetoric and pollution and find a real solution. And this is why Jordan matters. I don't want to be part of a black community not steeped in unity. We have our own racial divides. I want to be part of a proud black nation, an Afrocentric nation. That's what fills me with pride, so stop talking, just do it. Create the programs, we've got the means to do it. Look at us, we've all been through it. We've all got academia and engineering and artistry and athleticism and pride. Our people have pride, and it's not too late to instill it in the next generation, because that's why Jordan matters, and our youth matter, and my generation matter, and elders matter. So tell me, what's the matter? I've heard this talk of passing the baton on to the next generation so they could run on, but let's run with that baton beside them for a while. Guide them, teach them, be firm and smile, and then when they can run beside us at our own pace, then and only then is it time to let them pass us and continue the race. You see, that's why Jordan matters, and our youth matter, and elders matter, and my generation matters, but if we don't listen, all our hopes will be shattered. So take the time to think twice before giving our young people the wrong advice. Before looking at the way we communicate with one another, let's stop talking about self-hate and talk about what it really means to be a true sister or a brother. Let's pass on good values and be modern-day griots. Let's pass on our history and oral traditions and then run with the baton beside the next generation. And if we don't stop and think about how we failed our youth, then I've just wasted my time trying to tell you the truth. Because that's why Jordan matters, and our youth matter, and my generation matters, and elders matter. Thank you. So I do this great slam at Rosedale School of the Arts in the last 3 years. It was the first time they did it 3 years ago, and a young poet named Faith got up, Faith Perret. She's amazing. I actually hired her this year at Harborfront to perform in a showcase called Eastern Corridor, and it's been amazing to see her develop as a poet over the last few years. And, you know, I call this poem Reverse Poetic Inspiration, because oftentimes we're called on to work with young people and inspire them, but in this case, I was so moved by this young woman's bravery that I wrote this piece, and it's for Faith. After we all performed, they held a poetry slam at the end of the day. And it was during that slam that I watched young people bare their souls on microphones and spit rhymes from their souls and poetically express themselves until I found myself feeling every emotion, from joy to braps to big ups to laughter, and then I was moved to tears. Unaware that I would be so affected by the day until this young poet took part in the slam. Her name was Faith. She recited poetry with the bravado of any woman revolutionary. She had Sonia Sanchez in her veins and Lillian Allen in her spirit, and I could not sit still but lean closer to listen to her emotional outpour of the true feelings of teenage angst and desperation, teenage power and strength. She showed me that she is the true unscathed poetic voice. For Faith was not afraid to say what others might be afraid to. She had a vocabulary beyond her years, starting a poem about teenagers with the word existentialism in the first line. I had to get up and give her a hug after her first poem and just let her know that she is special and she has a gift. You see, this was the first time she ever did this, sharing her work in this way. She shared and bared and told and retold and told off and recited, and I felt and took the entire room in with every word and every breath until I sat up and I could not move as tears ran down my face. Yes, today I was hired to inspire and to tell my poetic story, but today I was a victim of reverse poetic inspiration. This inspiration caused me to continue to be teary-eyed as I left the school and said goodbye to the other poets, Greg and Alessandra, and then I boarded the TTC. Still gripped by this gnawing feeling in my gut, I reached frantically in my bag for a pen and my notepad, and I began to write words that were only legible to me, but those words were the beginning of this poem, For Faith. The last 3 years I've done a lot of work in Regent Park, and I did a program at 2 schools where they created an anthology called Regent Park Writes. I thought it was such a brilliant idea till I realized I had to edit their 140 poems by myself. It really was a brilliant idea. And Taiba is a 10-year-old in the class, and the very first day, they'd never done spoken word before, and at the end of the class, I said, I want you all to write a poem. You've got 5 minutes, and I want it to rhyme, but it has to be about you. So I realized Taiba had a gift when the first line of her poem was, women are empowered by their birth. It's like, okay, she's 10. Anyway, so this is the poem that she wrote for the anthology, and I'm reading this to you. I cried when I read it. I didn't have to edit it at all. Excluded, 10. Excluded I was. Excluded I am. How long will it take you to understand? We all have harsh feelings against one another, but let's spend our time like we would never. Have fun times, share cries together. Scream and try to fight the other. Lose hope after all the pain. And at the end, we never gain. Before we soak their coffin in tears and make ourselves find our real fears. Have some time to really think. Is it them who I remember being my best companion? And is it them who was my best inspiration? If I had one more moment, that I could spend with them, I'd make sure I would have never excluded them. Excluded. So track 8, yes. This next piece is called Wasted Hello, and it ended up in my play, and it's just about how I feel in Toronto sometimes. It's just juice, y'all, don't get excited. We'll see. If not, that's okay. It happens. Probably have to start back at the beginning. But that's it, though. I'm just pretending no one else is here. It's just you and I. Another wasted hello. Another wasted smile. Why didn't you say hello? You just passed me by. Hello and a smile. It's so easy to do. I don't want anything more than a hello back from you. And I just feel broken, broken, like when we were divided up as slaves. And I feel broken, broken, as I write these words upon the page. 'Cause you're a part of me, and I'm a part of you. Just read his story, her story, see what we've been through. So I'm just saying hello. Don't want nothing more from you. Hello and a smile. It's so easy to do. Another wasted hello. Standing at the bus stop on a bright and sunny day, I see a brother walk towards me, and so I get ready to say hello like I do. Say hello like I always do. But the strangest and most hurtful thing happened on that bright and sunny day. And Brother Man didn't even acknowledge me, but turned his head the other way. See, when black men don't speak, I wonder what I've done wrong. I'm not asking for too much. I'm not asking for money or a touch, and it causes me to think back to the days of when we were torn apart as a race, to where the black man was divided from the black woman, and we were mistreated and displaced. And it's an image I can't erase. Because if black men don't speak, because they say that black women don't, is this what it's come to? I won't, so you won't? I felt the need to write this poem on that bright and sunny day, when brother walked towards me and turned his head the other way, but I didn't sit down and write it until today, because it happened to me again when I said hello on the subway. And I just feel broken, broken, as I write these words upon the page. And I feel broken, broken, not angry or enraged, 'cause you're a part of me, and I'm a part of you. Just read his story, her story, see what we've been through. So I'm just saying hello. Don't want nothing more from you. Hello and a smile. It's so easy to do. Another wasted hello. Thank you. So, just have just a few more pieces. So this next piece is called Siblings. I think I just wrote it last week, and then this morning I revisited it and then rewrote it. So hopefully I can read my own writing, because I do get paid to write, but it's usually through a trusty computer. It's called Siblings. Born separately, raised apart, forced together, never able to build relationships like siblings should. Age differences, abuse, made us all survivors in our own separate worlds, and now we're adults. One sister lost to lupus. We never bonded because she never understood that I understood her. We shared a common denominator, parents, an abusive home. The other siblings say they love, but their actions indicate the opposite. And so I still love them, but from a distance. Anyway, but most important, I learned to love myself and work through the abused child that still lived in my mind. And as I learned to love who I never could be, I waited patiently for others to see that grudges hold no answers. Pain is not a home. Healing is possible. Faith is always waiting. And so we drift further apart, bonded by blood and circumstance, but further apart. We may never build the bond that was taken away from us as children, but we are siblings regardless. Thank you. So number, 2, yeah, sure. I'll try to cheer up a little bit, And I have a CD, Poetry Huggin', which is there. I always forget, but I do have one, and they have it in the room back there. This piece is called Black Woman. Ooh, woman, 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 woman. Ooh, oh, 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 oh. Woman, 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 woman. From my ancestry to present day, I have always paved the way, not afraid of what I do or say. Black woman, a vital voice in society, proud of my African history. Know that it's my destiny to be steeped in positivity. When you look at me, you can't see my trials. When it comes to strength, I'm versatile. I'm the black woman. See, I've got this rich melanin that's deeply ingrained inside my skin, and though you may try, you just can't win. Black woman, when you see me hold my head up high, you don't have to wonder why. See, I wear the scars of my life with pride. Black woman will love my man like he's a king and share with him my everything. I'm the black woman. I will never settle for less. I've survived the Middle Passage and the slavery test. I'm the black woman. Won't be a media statistic or stereotype. Won't yell to be heard or have sister fights. I'm the black woman. I stand before you strong and proud. Say it hard, say it loud. Black woman. Sisters, you don't ever have to be ashamed of who you are, where you're going, or where you come from. You have something special that is not meant to be denigrated or disintegrated into nothingness. You are special. You are blessed. You are the black woman, 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 woman. Woman, 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 woman. Woman, 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 woman. Da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Black woman. Da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Black woman. I'm a black woman. I'm a black woman. So I do one more, last piece. I'm good? So, and my last piece, I'm not sure of the time. I hope I'm in the time. I'm with somebody? Okay, anyway, this is, so my last piece is simply called Why I Write. I write because it is my cure for any personal ailment or pain. I write because sometimes I don't have the power to say what I really want to. I write because it's in my blood and my veins, and if you cut me, words would bleed onto the floor in a poem somewhat abstract, but in the brightest and blackest ink. You see, the pen is an instrument given to me by some predetermined elder and mentor that I never met before. I write to scream. I write to cry. I write to laugh. I write to release. I write to save myself from having to pay a therapist. I save an awful lot of money this way. I write to right the wrongs of society. You see, my writing is my emotional release from the remains of the day and the constraints of my life. I write because each word, each syllable, each phrase, each sound means that there is one less thing on my mind. I write because I am words and the paper is my meaning. My fingers create a poetic vocabulary and my thoughts a thesaurus. I write because it is my cure for cancer. I write to soothe. I write to dream. I write to laugh. I write to scream. I write because before the beginning of time, it was predetermined by an unknown mentor that my destiny was to take pen to paper and decipher all of the thoughts that were intertwined inside of my cranium, and this is why I write. It's not a chore or something I even think about. It's simply what I do and who I am. I write because I am a writer, and my signature is life. Thank you.